This is what a lot of people, a lot of y'all want to hear, right? This is I'm listen, I'm just being straight and being honest. And I think there's gonna be some shock value, I think, right? Because I just know how people are. But I want people to get out of the mindset of thinking that things always continue as they were. That's not how life works, right? It's not how life works, right? Cha One small change can produce a big impact, a big effect, right? In a negative or positive way. That's the reality of the situation. That's the reality of life. So I don't want people to think that whatever happened last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, that means something gonna happen this year in the same line. And no, it's not. That's not how things work. Okay, so I'm gonna talk about my predicted division winners, order of finish, because I know SWAC Media Day is coming up in 2 days, and I know, listen, it is the annual PV Snub Day, right, as we call it, the annual PV Snub Media Day, all right? That's what it is, SWAC Media Day. I'm sure they're gonna be picking PV to finish. At the most, I think they'll pick a second behind either Grambling or Alcorn. I actually could even see them having us pick third, right? Because that's just what they do. It's the annual snub day, okay? This is what it is, right? But I want to show you really what it's gonna look like, right? So first and foremost, this is my big, I think, old take that a lot of people would say they don't believe. Because the other day we had a conversation, Coach Green called on, and we talked about SWAC East versus SWAC West. And listen, from the end of the year, I was handling an argument and saying, listen, the records were actually even between East and West. And if FAMU wasn't undefeated, then the SWAC West would have beat the East more than the East, right? You know what I'm saying? Beat the West. The reality of the situation is, listen, the team that wins the East will have 2 losses. 2, and I'm talking about 2 SWAC losses. I'm not talking about 2 losses, like, overall. I know this is a bold prediction for many people to take. I know many people are not gonna believe this or take this well, but hey, listen, put it in the year and realize, like, yeah, I made sense. The team that wins the East this year is gonna have 2 losses. 2 losses, right? I got Jackson State finishing first, right? I do have Jackson currently, based on everything that I've seen, right? Um, I got them winning the East, but I got them winning the East at a 6-2 record, right? Alabama State tied with them at first, 6-2, but Alabama State is going to lose that game to Jackson State, even though it's in Montgomery. And I got Florida A&M. I think this may be one of the shockers, right? I have Florida A&M at 5-3. I think they're going to drop 3 SWAC games. I think they have a possibility to even drop more than 3 SWAC games. I think they're going to be in a lot of close games this year. If you look at last year, they were in close games last year. They were in some games that, if the momentum didn't swing based on that coaching staff that they had, there are many games then that they could have lost, right? So I got Florida A&M actually losing 3 SWAC games this year, and Alabama A&M, I got them finishing 4th again. Uh, but I have them finishing. I have them beating Bethune-Cookman. I think I am against the grain there. Like unlike others, I think Alabama A&M. I have them winning a little bit more games than I think many others have them, because I think they're going to do pretty well against the West this year, right? Games against Grambling, games against Southern, right? I think they're going to take one of those 2 games, possibly even getting 2 of those games, right? And so I have them finishing at 500 in the SWAC, 4-4, and I have them beating Bethune-Cookman, which I know people are high on Bethune-Cookman, but when I kind of go back and look, they do have a new quarterback that's come in, but they're still, at the end of the day, that offense was really, really behind, right? And so the defense played well. They're going to be in a lot of games, and I think they are going to clip, 1 or 2 teams that you would say that you wouldn't expect them to win those games. But I also think they're going to drop some games that some people right now are going to give them to win. And we'll talk about that too. So I have Bethune actually finishing 5th in the conference with 3-5. And obviously, Valley, I don't think they get any win this year. I think they go 0-8. I think it's possible for Valley to go 0-12, right, this year. Um, you said I can see FAMU switching spots with Alabama State. Possibly if FAMU beats Alabama State, then yeah, they'll definitely switch position with them. But I currently have Alabama State beating Florida A&M. I do. I have them beating Florida A&M. I'm not sold on Eddie Robinson's defense either. They have some pieces, right, that are coming back. But listen, they lost a lot. And I always say, same thing with FAMU, same thing with Alabama State when we talk about the defenses. These were top FCS defenses last year. Both of them lost NFL caliber talent. You don't just replace NFL caliber talent as if you just plug and play. That's not how this works, right? I can understand you are Alabama or LSU or Michigan or Ohio State, right? Understandable. You don't just replace NFL caliber talent, right? In the SWAC. That's not how it works, right? And so they lost some guys, right? They didn't just lose some regular guy. They lost some guys, right? So I think both of them are going to take a slight step back defensively. Now, Eddie Robinson is still a defensive-minded coach, so I can't see them dropping off the map defensively. Same thing with, you know what I'm saying, same thing when it comes to Florida A&M. I don't see them dropping off the map defensively. But I think they take steps back. And you got to realize, again, if you go back and look at the game, go back and look at the games, not just the end result of the game, but go back and look at the game, the flow of the game, and see how, listen, them taking a step back defensively could mean a loss to Southern, for example. Them taking a step back, right, for Alabama State could mean dropping another one or two SWAC games, right, to a Jackson State or to another school, right, to a Bethune-Cookman or something like that, right? So that's major, especially Alabama State last year, who didn't have a great offense, but they had a great receiver. Now they bring in a quarterback that they believe in, but do they have the receivers? Do they have the running back room, right? So it's a lot of questions Alabama State on the offense, and also the defense is going to take a step back. So I think that hype train is going to kind of slow down after the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season. Not that they won't still be in it and have a shot to win, get to the SWAC Championship game, but I definitely think that hype train is going to start slowing down early on in the year. People are going to start being more realistic on Alabama State, right? So, and yeah, I got go Bulldogs. Yeah, listen, I got Coach Maynard winning some games that I think a lot of people got them losing. That's just the reality, right? I got them beating Bethune-Cookman. I think they're going to beat either Graham or Southern. They were in those games. They were in those games last year, right? And so I got them winning one of those 2 games too as well, if not both. And so I think they finished 4-4. I think Woody takes a step. I can see them finishing as high as second. Yeah, the defense, the Bethune-Cookman defense is going to be solid, right? They had a solid defense last year. The question is, they did lose a few pieces off that defense. They did lose a couple pieces off that defense. Now, the good thing they've done is they brought in some guys who have playing experience at the next level. So it's not even just guys they brought in who coming from other programs who didn't have previous playing experience, because that's one thing that I try to see, right? How many snaps did other guys have? So they bringing in some guys that had snaps that's beneficial for them, right? But man, that offense was really, 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 really terrible. So, if they could shore up that line, right? You know what I'm saying? No Rick Ross sons coming in. If they can shore up that line and at least have a solid running game, then now I think they're in a good position, right? Because again, they can try to fit that mold of Alabama State last year and try to kind of just grind games out, keep games low scoring. But I just don't see, man, I don't see them having that just dynamic, player to just get them over the hump right now on the offensive side. And that's why I definitely can't have that high. I mean, second is like really high. I really like Woody and what he's done so far. I still feel like he's maybe another recruit class away, maybe. You know what I'm saying? But I think it's kind of high for me. Everybody said Bama State is real for real. They're real for real. Hey, listen. Hey, wait, it's still all out there to be seen. You know what I'm saying? Question. I think like I've been saying, I think they draft night Caitlin Clark. They're getting all the hype. But once they get to the league, you realize they're really not the best player in the league, right? They're a great player. I mean, they draw a lot of eyes. They're not the best player in the league. That, to me, is what Alabama State is this year. But it's hey, things that you gotta wait and see. But I also think, I mean, even when you talk about, with Andrew, I don't think that Andrew is gonna put up crazy numbers because I just don't know if Eddie Robinson is willing to move too far away from the type of offense that he has previously had, right? So I do think, I mean, they air the ball out a little bit more, and that may also just be a product of, again, I don't know if they have the running back room like they've had previously. I mean, they lost 2 really good backs. He lost a back that went to Mexico, and now he's jumped up to another, I think, like, P5 program, right? So, they lost some good backs, and out that backfield, just lost Keyshawn Johnson. Again, you losing main pieces, and now you gotta go find somebody else to plug into those roles. So, it may just be a little bit too much for Andrew to just try to put all on his shoulders, right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, does Andrew have to throw for 2,500 yards and rush for 600, 700 yards? I mean, a lot, man. So I just think at the end of the day, it's too much to ask for him on the offensive side of things, right? And trying to figure out who those guys is. And then also, like I say, right, when push comes to shove at the end of the day in the real game, like, how much is Eddie Robinson gonna allow the leash for the OC to really let Andrew loose? That's the real question, right? So, that's a part of that too. You know what I'm saying? So he said the running back room is full. Hey, so that's hey, we gonna see, man. We gonna see. I know. Listen, I hope they get the game against Central, but just because, listen, I always hope the SWAC do well out of conference. But I think that Central game is gonna definitely show us a lot. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, they said, "I don't see FAMU gelling together so quickly with their roster turnover so big." Yeah, they do have, it's like they have a lot of new pieces, but they also have some stays there, right? So that's kind of the good thing with them. They do have some guys who are there. So I mean, that secondary room is gonna be solid. I think the O line is still gonna be well, right? Obviously, that running back room, they have multiple pieces there. But I think there's certain rules that I think they're still gonna be they're gonna be good in, right? But yeah, they did bring in a lot of transfers, and I'm not a fan of bringing a lot of transfers in after spring either. And so that's another thing, right? A lot of guys, and I've seen a lot of guys who also improving on the other level. When I'm talking about Bethune-Cookman, I'm seeing like guys who have snaps. I don't see. I mean, there's some guys that I've seen come through family that got snaps, right? But some of these guys don't have snaps at the next level like that. So to me, I mean, that's important, right? You know what I mean? To bring in guys who are ready to go, bring in guys who can get into your system, man, and help elevate you. But I know, listen, at the end of the day, I mean, the talent I think is being underestimated how much they're gonna miss Willie Simmons, they're gonna miss Ryan Smith, right? Like, listen, that's your DC and your OC at the end of the day. That's big loss. That's big losses. That's huge losses, right? So anyway, that's what I got, man, this year. So I got Jackson beating Alabama State. I got Alabama State beating Florida A&M. I got Jackson beating Florida A&M. So that's how the cookie crumbles in the East, right? But I do have Jackson, right? I do think Jackson is gonna lose to like Alcorn. And I think Jackson's also gonna just drop a game that they didn't drop, like a game against like DCU, for example, right? So I think that's how it ends up. That's how the cookie crumbles, as I say, right? You know what I'm saying? In the East. So that's my thoughts there. But I think the team that wins the East is gonna have 2 losses. Now, when it comes to the West, obviously at the top, you see what it is. I got PV at 7-1. I do think it's hard to go through the SWAC unscathed. That's just the reality of the situation. It's hard to go through the SWAC unscathed. And so, if I had to choose any games, I'm thinking, man, this is a game that I could see us dropping, especially late in the year. Because that last 2 games in the year is going to be tough, back to back to back. Florida and them Alcorn, and then going to Alabama State. I Alcorn is that game that I'm like, man, yeah, that's a game I could see that we could possibly drop, right? But again, when I look at the West, I'm saying it's either Alcorn or Prairie View, right? That's the only thing I see. But I do think Alcorn is also going to drop some other games too. So even if that is a possibility, I still see that, you know, I see it as possible that PV could lose to Alcorn, but yet still get into the SWAC Championship game because I think Alcorn is just gonna drop some other games in their schedule as well, right? So I got Alcorn sitting at 6-2. I got Grant, and I think this is also what people are gonna see, and they're gonna say, you know, you know what I mean, that okay, see the starter was hurt, running back room is full. Okay, who was the starter? Who was the starter? Running back over there. But I know what people are gonna see on this list and see Grambling 6-5, Texas Southern 6-5. I mean 6-5, sorry, 3-5, Grambling 3-5, Southern 3-5, UAPB 1-7. UAPB is I got them winning, beating Valley right in that game. Listen, I keep saying it. I don't think Southern is gonna be good at all. I don't think Southern is nowhere close to winning the SWAC West. Nowhere close to winning the SWAC Championship game at all whatsoever. Okay. I mean, if UAPB wasn't in the West, they would be dead last. That's how I have them. I think they're gonna be the bottom of the barrel. Okay. That's the reality, right? Now there's a couple games that you can call swing games with the game against Grambling, right? I think that's a swing game. Obviously, game against Texas, so that's a swing game. So I mean, if they can get those wins, then obviously this could switch from being a 3-5 year to a 5-3 year, right? In SWAC play. But I have them losing these games, though, right? That's why I have Southern at 3-5. When I look at Alabama A&M, I think Alabama A&M is going to beat Southern, right? You know what I'm saying? It's just what I got, right? It's just what I got. Also, Grambling, I think Grambling's going to have a tougher year than people are thinking. I mean, right now, Miles Charlie, who for all intents and purposes could have said, man, I was the second best quarterback in the SWAC, right? Easily last year. Coming into the year, I could stake a claim that I'm the best quarterback in the SWAC. Musa's gone, Aaron Allen's gone, Body was out for a year, right? So even if you say he won, I'm definitely two. But I could say, man, I'm one, right? I'm one, I'm two, right? But yet he is in a QB competition on a team that with Dooley is probably looking for somebody different. That's just the reality. He is a true pocket passer who doesn't move, and that's not what Dooley's looking for. And so the reality is he's going to the fall camp with the high probability that after he thrown for 2,000 plus yards, right, 2-1 in the touchdown interception ratio, he may not be the starter at Grambling. That's the reality, right? The other thing is Grambling only gave you 15 sacks last year, right? And then you lost every single piece of that starting five on the offensive line. You lost every single one of them to the portal. You lost your two star running backs to the portal. I think the top three running backs altogether, right? Like Grambling lost a lot, and they brought a lot in, right? But again, all of it is just we don't know, right? You know what I'm saying? That's the reality. So you got to put together offensive line to make up for this offensive line who just led the SWAC in sacks against you, the lowest at 15. You know, that doesn't bode well for Grambling. And listen, I understand then why they probably want somebody to do a little bit more because that line they put together it may take some while for them to gel, right? And so Grambling's gonna be, I think Grambling's gonna be a little bit more trouble than people are thinking, you know, are giving them. And then also Texas Southern. This is the last thing I got with Texas Southern. Again, I'll bring Richard. I'll bring you in here in a second. I see what Texas Southern, right, is Texas Southern, I think, is actually going to be a little better than people think. So I have Alabama A&M a little higher than I think people have them. Equipment a little lower, and I also got Southern a little higher, Southern a lot lower, right? That's kind of my differences there. I think I obviously FAMU, I got them lower than most people will have them. So I think Texas Southern is also going to win a couple games too. Listen, you had the newcomer of the year, Jace Wilson. I know that they brought a couple new quarterbacks in, right? But again, he has playing experience is big, right? Having somebody been on the field is huge, right? He had that time, over 1,600 yards last year, right? His receivers let him down a lot last year. That's just the reality. Grambling game, I remember it vividly. I mean, drops, right? So I think he has an opportunity to come in and also play well again. It's gonna the real question is gonna be the defense. You know, that defensive coordinator, what he does, because they have pieces, right? I mean, they got a Jacob Williams, they got an Isaiah Bogarty, right? They got some pieces, especially in that linebacker group. Obviously, they lost Noel up front, which is a huge loss for them. And then, of course, you know, the secondary, right, as well. They got a couple pieces there. And so, you know, can you put together a defense that's going to be to keep teams kind of at bay throughout the year. But I think they're going to be in games, right? They were in games last year. I think they're going to be in games this year. They definitely have to find a running back who's going to take the place of, or one or two guys that's going to come in, right? Because you're not going to have one guy to do what Owens did. You got to have two, three guys to come in, right, and be able to put something on the field to make it comfortable for Jace, right? Because when Owens runs for 1,300, then Jace, yeah, I only need to throw for 60, right? He don't got to go for over 2,000 plus. So you need the running backs to come in and say, Jake, I only need you at 1,800. I only need you to go crazy, right? Because I can get 1,000 or 1,200 from two other backs, right? 700 from one, 500 from other, or 600 from one, 300 from one, and 200 from another. Something like that. That to me, that would be a good mix for Texas Southern. But there's a lot of question marks, especially just with the coaching staff. But I still think Texas Southern. I think they're gonna do a. I just feel like they're gonna, because people kind of looking at them as a team that's down and out. I feel like they're definitely gonna bite people this year. I mean, just like they bought Alcorn last year, right? So obviously with Alcorn, they're gonna have a great defense, right? The question obviously for them is on the offensive side of things to me mainly. Of course, with with Tyler Macon, right? Obviously, Material Hunt is gone. But you got other receivers. I know they brought in some running backs, right? Who have some time elsewhere. So, they've done a good job there to keep that line together. So the real question is going to be kind of that new OC that's coming in. Is that scheme what Alcorn needs to keep them consistent, right? Aaron Allen kind of just jumped out of nowhere, right, and went crazy last year. I think that put Alcorn in a position where they had a shot at the West. Can Tyler make him do the same thing? Because if he can't do that, which to me, I don't think he can. But if he can't do that, then that's where I feel like Alcorn going to be in trouble as far as being able to consistently, get the job done on the offensive side of the ball. And with PV, man, listen, the defensive line is just going to be the strongest unit on the defensive side of the ball, and they're going to make it easy for everybody else behind them, right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I think we can go like 3 levels on the defensive line this year, and I think that's going to help every single body on in the secondary. Those linebackers are coming in and clean things up. In the offense, I mean, the wide receiver room is the deepest that I think I've seen in the so. I mean, literally, I'm almost like, how I don't even know how we just gonna use all these guys, right? You know what I'm saying? It's like they're just gonna be talented just on the bench that's just probably just biding their time, right? Because you literally got so many guys there and that's available. So I'm excited to see, what's gonna happen. I'm really excited for Labor Day Classic, right? And I mean, I think we got, two guys that can get the job done right in the quarterback room. Obviously, there's gonna be a competition there. I've said it multiple times that I think Cam, because he's been here in the spring, and because of that playing time he had last year, Kilgore, 26 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Listen, that's the numbers you want to see, right? And so obviously, I think PV is going to get it done this year. You know what I'm saying? So let's go. Let me see. Before I move on, says since everybody's running back room is full, then let the best squad win. Yeah, for sure. PV at the top, you're making trouble now. No, I mean, it's either Alcorn or PV. That is what it is. I mean, I'm even saying, listen, the loss I got there, because I'm like, nobody's probably going to go undefeated. The loss I technically got, I'm thinking, is the Alcorn game. I just think Alcorn is going to drop 2 other games. So, it's really going to be the game right there, right? You know what I'm saying? So I've even said that. So it is what it is. Alcorn is scary. Yeah, Alcorn, if they get their offense together, it's going to be real. No, man, Alcorn QB is running QB can't throw into the Pacific Ocean. Richard, are you on? You hear me? Richard, you on? Can you hear me? Sound like you got me on in the background, so you probably got to turn that down. All right. So he said, "SWAC Media today with SWAC and Prairie." That's crazy. All right. Let's see. Coming out the West this year, Jennifer. I appreciate you. Listen, I'm trying to be. I told you I'm trying to give you out a real. Like people just think I'm talking. I'm trying to give you out a real, right? You know what I'm saying? I do think Alabama A&M is gonna get Southern. I don't think they're gonna be as low as people think they are. Jace don't have owns in the backfield anymore. They lost key wide receivers. That's true. I listen. I agree with you. Some of the wide receivers let Jace down last year, though. Like I liked Jace. I ain't gonna lie. I liked Jace. All right. His receivers let him down last year. To be honest. Zach say got here late. Projections seem fairly accurate. Listen, I'm just saying. That's what I do. I give people just be thinking I'm trying to get accuracy. You know what I mean? That's why we made the t-shirts to win the SWAC Championship Game. All right. I think Texas is going to be better than people think. That's why I got them there. You know what I'm saying? I definitely think they can get the game against somebody that people not giving them credit to get one against. Right? Obviously, Europe UAPB is there too. So I feel like they can get two other games that people not giving them. Right? So like the Bethune-Cookman game, I'm giving Texas Southern that game. And then I think they get one more game. So that's why I got them at 3-5. Jersey to the first 20 fans. Oh, I like that idea for the jersey things. I like that idea for the jersey things. I think that's actually dope. You know what I'm saying? Now, Zach, you have to go back and see where I had FAMU because if you see where I have FAMU, you probably say that this is probably not accurate. You know what I'm saying? Because I ain't have FAMU winning anything in the East, but so that's probably where we disagree. Said Jace for sure on the DC's radar. So again, man, if you want to share your thoughts, I don't know what's going on. Rich was in the chat, on the call line. He dropped off. But again, you can call in number here 516-253-3434, or you can just use the StreamYard link up on the StreamYard and we can have that convo.